Hey, agents, whatever you do, don't quit the business. Do not quit the business. There's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation about a lot of agents who are probably not going to renew their real estate dues or memberships or continue to hang their license with a brokerage at the beginning of 2025, which is only a few short days away. And the reason is, a lot of reasons. One is the whole NAR lawsuit thing, right? That is an issue for a lot of people that they're kind of going, man, it's changed the rules, it's made it more difficult or just different than what we're used to. And so it just feels like that there's not as many opportunities, and those opportunities are a little bit more hard won. And also just low inventory, right? We've for years now, we've been at a point where we've had low inventory, and it's a tough challenge to overcome. But I'm going to tell you, don't quit the business. I'm going to give you a solution here in just a minute, a good solution. But I'm going to give you an example, and this is something that you have to consider, especially, there's a lot of people get in this business because it, you just go, gosh, if I sold one house a month, I mean, anywhere you're at in the country, doesn't matter. If you sold one house a month, uh, every single month for a year, you'd be doing really, really well. If you're in an area like I'm at in Orange County, California, man, I sell one house a month. We're crushing it, income wise and stuff like that, right? But we find out that that's not quite the case. And here's an example. So here in Orange County, and this is prior to the end of 2024, the last time I checked, and it's probably been 5 months, something like that, since I've checked, there were in Orange County total about roughly 40,000 active dues paying members in Orange County. Okay. And I know a lot of people argue, they say, well, yeah, but a lot of them don't do anything. Well, that's true. That is true. But it doesn't matter. I always count them, because if I went out on a listing appointment and they happen to get that listing appointment call as well, we're fighting over the same deal. And so I count them all as competition. But there's 40,000 active agents. And when I checked how many homes sold in Orange County last month, it was about 3,000. And so you've got 40,000 agents, but you've only got 3,000 homes sold per month. So guaranteed, not everybody's selling a home per month. And most likely, most of them are not selling a home, every quarter or even every 6 months, which just makes it a miserable existence to be in this business. You're like, man, how do I fight and compete with that kind of thing? And so a lot of old timers like myself, I've been doing this for almost 30 years now, lots of ups and downs, right? Like everybody. We're kind of going, oh, okay, good. Well, hopefully this will clear out some of the, what, might sound derogatory, but it's kind of dead weight. There's a lot of people who get out there and are pushing their services and promoting themselves and things like that really don't take this business serious, right? And so, how does that help you out, though? We're going to talk about that in a minute, because if you're sitting there going, well, I've got my license, I've had it for a couple of years, sales have been horrible, I haven't really been able to do business. I have a job. I have to have a job, because if I don't have a job, I can't pay my bills. But man, I would love to have success in real estate. Then what I'm going to suggest to you is to become what they call a referral partner. But there are some caveats to this that you need to know about. You just need to be aware about these caveats. So if you become a referral partner or a referral agent in the real estate industry, you will know that you are going to actually make money as a referral agent. Okay. Let's take an example here. Okay. I'm just going to pick a number, low, I don't know, median number for some areas, about $500,000. Okay. So if a house in your area is $500,000 and you referred that out to another agent, let's just take a look here. So 500,000 times, and let's say that they are able to get a 2.5% listing fee or 2.5% buyer's fee, right? Then that would be equal to about $12,500. Okay. Now, what you would get if you ask for a 25% referral, which is very common. That's common, but everything's negotiable. You can negotiate anything that you want. And that would mean that when that transaction's done, you're getting a $3,125 gross check for not doing anything other than pretty much making a phone call and staying in touch with them and following up with them just to see how things are going, right? Not too bad. Not too bad at all. But let's say you're in a high median income area. I'm going to pick my area. So my median here is 1,800,000. I know, 1,800,000. And we're going to say you refer it and they only get a 2%. Okay. So that would be a $36,000 gross commission, right? But then you say, well, I want 25%. which I would say is very reasonable, and I wouldn't ask for less. That's a $9,000 check. Could you deal with a $9,000 check? And I think that most people watching this would be like, yeah, I could take a $9,000 check for making a phone call. So I want you to think about this from the perspective of a business. You're sitting there and you're trying to have your real estate business, and you're in a hyper local area, little tiny area, a town, a city, these 8 zip codes, maybe the whole county that you're working in. And you're really limited to that because, look, I know agents say, "I'll drive anywhere to close a deal." And it's okay, fantastic. The reality is most people are going to stay within 20 miles of their house. Look, I've done it. I've driven hours to other properties, especially earlier in my career, because I wasn't going to turn anything down, right? But because you're hyper local, it's very difficult for you to expand and reach out in other places of the country, right? So have you ever had anybody reach out to you and say, "Hey, we're thinking about, buying or selling, 3 states over"? And you probably have. And maybe you asked them if you could refer somebody and that sort of thing. And, but because it's not the focus of your business, it probably wasn't something that you just jumped all over and made sure that it happened. But when you become a referral agent, if that's all you want to focus on, then all of a sudden, um, now you start becoming aware. And this happened to me. There was a point in time, and I kicked myself for this because there was a point in time when I said, I was getting all these calls, from all over the country, just from videos and things that I had made. And they would ask me for help or whatever. I'm like, well, I don't work in Pennsylvania. I don't work over there. And I was a knucklehead, right, for not really looking at the potential there. But eventually it came and I went, oh, yeah, man, I'm throwing a bunch of money away. And so I started sending all these referrals all over the country. And I have to be honest, it saved my bacon a couple of times because we had, where we were in a really down time for whatever reason, there was no business. We weren't getting any business. And all of a sudden, bing, 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 these referral checks started showing up. We're like, oh my gosh. And those are enough to pay the bills sometimes, and so we were very, very happy for that. And it has become part of our business strategy going forward for many years now. We're constantly promoting things all over the country not in an aggressive way. We're not running ads. We're not paying for it. We're just putting out different content, things like that, where people can find, that people can find us and reach out for help and ask questions and things like that. And then we turn them into referrals and send them all over the place. But here's one of the catches with being a referral agent. This is a big challenge for referrals. Again, I've been doing it a long time. And one of the reasons why I never really made it a primary focus on my business was because there were several times when I would get a referral, a good referral, a buyer or a seller, and they were ready to go right now, right? And so what do? I look up, I go onto the different tools or resources like, different agent roster sites, or even like on, realtor.com, and look at the roster and Zillow. I mean, I was using all kinds of things to go and look to find a great agent in that area for them, because I was like, if I'm going to refer them, one, I want to get them to a good agent so they have a good experience. Number two, I want to make sure that they get sold, right? Because who cares if you're referring people all over the place if that agent on the other end can't get them sold and get them, get you paid, right? And so, excuse me. So what ended up happening a few different times was I would refer it out to an agent. And at the time, at one time I was with a smaller brokerage. At another couple of times, I was with a much larger brokerage that we all know. But I'll tell you about that in a second. Anyways, with a smaller brokerage, I would refer it out and I would say, hey, here it is, 25%. I would do follow-ups with the client as well as with the agent on a periodic basis, every few weeks or something like that. Just, hey, how's it going? Well, come to find out that the sale would close, the buyer would buy the house, and they were very happy. And then I'm sitting around going, well, where's my referral check? I call the agent. For some reason, they're not answering my call anymore. They're not replying to my emails. They're not answering my text messages. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? Well, they ghosted me and they're not going to pay a referral fee now. Well, that's not fair. They signed a referral agreement. They have to pay the referral fee. Well, yeah, technically, but if you're one of those places where you're going to get a $3,000 check because of the sale, they know you're probably not going to do anything, because the cost of pursuing that in another state, that would burn $3,000 in about a minute and a half, right? Okay, so we get the broker involved. The broker calls and says, hey, you guys signed a referral agreement and you need to pay that referral fee. And that broker in that other state, and I remember my broker telling me this at the time, he said they literally said the words they used was go pound sand, because they know you're not coming after it. Even if it's that $9,000 referral fee, you got to really weigh things out. Now, does it suck and does it sting? Yeah, it's horrible. And people should not be operating like that. I think they should be, kicked out of the business for doing that. Can you file grievances? Can you do all this? Again, how much is your time worth? Do you put all this time and energy and effort into recovering this referral fee? And this is one of the big challenges why I never really put a lot of energy towards referrals for quite a while. Another company that I was with, big company, you guys all know the name. And I thought, okay, I can do referrals here because it's one big giant national company, right? International company for that matter. Well, come to find out, I ran into the very same experience on two different occasions where I would give the referral. But then I realized, I learned later on that, oh, wait a minute, even though it's one big company, each area, each region or whatever was still franchise owned, right? So it was this broker or operating principal or whatever would own this area and somebody else owned another area, right? So it was still kind of at their discretion. And on a couple of occasions, and this was during a tough market too, so man, the referral fee could have come in really handy. Same thing. They're just like, well, sorry, pound sand. And I'm thinking, well, but wait, we're all under the same umbrella of the same company. Why doesn't this, why how can you get away with that? And it's the same thing because they just own those particular regions. And I'm like, okay, well, this whole referral thing stinks until, and I'm just throwing this out there. And this is something, if you want to talk about more, then let me know. But when I joined EXP, they have the referral program. Okay. And the difference is that EXP is not independently owned franchises all over the place. They're not independent little brokers all over, right? All of EXP is under one big umbrella. It's an independent company, all under one big umbrella. And so when I do a referral to an agent in another state, if that transaction closes, all I got to do is go to the transaction center and just say, hey, this agent closed the transaction. I have a referral fee. It's right here. It's documented, which everything is documented. And actually, the referral process, oh my God, it's so easy. It's incredible. And very well documented, right? So when later on that transaction closes or a transaction closes and maybe you're not even paying attention and you're like, oh my gosh, I just got a referral fee. Fantastic. Okay. They can't not pay you. Okay. If I have the broker here in California sign my referral agreement and we send it to the managing, and we call them managing brokers in, Wyoming, and that person sells that house to somebody in Wyoming or lists their house and sells it in Wyoming, it's going to bring a red flag into the system that, oh, this client completed a transaction with an EXP agent that, oh, look, it also has a referral to Anthony Nitz, right? And so this is why I say don't quit the business. Do not quit the business because you could be part of this referral program. And one of the other great things about it is that unlike almost all companies out there, they say, well, if you want to be with the company, you have to have an active license, obvious, right? Which you already have. But you have to have, your MLS and your board dues and all that stuff. And you got to pay for all that stuff. Well, shoot, you're not making money. So it's kind of tough to pay for those things when you're not making money, right? With EXP, we actually have a referral only program. Okay. So what that means is you can sign up for this program and say, well, gosh, I'm not going to actually go out there and show properties because, well, I got a full-time, gig going on, right? I'm not going to go out and actually list the house because, I've got a full-time job and it just probably wouldn't make sense. But you could. There's a way to do that too. I'll tell you about that in a second. The better thing would be just refer it out. And because of this now you can be having conversations with people all over the country. And when they go, oh gosh, you're talking to a friend who lives 8 states away from you, and you go, They go, you know what? I think it's time to sell. You know what? Can you do me a favor? Will you talk to one of my agents? I have a couple of agent friends right in your area. Can I call them up? Will you talk to them and just see, and then just consider them, you know? And they go, yeah, sure. Well, now you just made a referral and you put it in the referral system. That's super easy. You just fill out a couple bits of information and hit send, and it's all handled internally, basically. Um, and now that person gets a referral, the transaction, a transaction closes at some point in time in the future, and now you get a check for that referral fee, and you didn't have to keep your membership dues or your board dues and all that stuff. And so I just think it's a good option. Now, if somebody calls you up and goes, "Hey, I've got this, super expensive house for your area, right? Whatever that is, got a super expensive house, and I want to list it," and you think that, hey, this is my opportunity to dive in back into the business and become that listing agent or that buyer's agent or whatever it is, well, then you just switch over to the regular program. But you do have to get your MLS and your board dues and all that stuff at that time. So I'm telling you, don't quit the business. If you want to learn more about this, you know what? Reach out to me. Just call me. It's in the description. All my contact information is in the description. It's not hard to get to. You can call me, and I can help walk you through this particular program so that you can stay connected to the real estate business, continue to potentially earn income, and just either use it as a way for extra income or use it as a way to build up enough reserve so that you can get fully into the business. So anyway, yeah, check the description and we'll talk to you later. Take care. Good luck.